Hello, this is Earth Echoes with Amber Fields, and today I'd like to read another writing by Jason Gray. This piece, I feel, really gives a lot more insight into where Jason's coming from and the experiences that he's had and how he has gotten to where he is today. The title of this piece is Gateway Unsealed, a confession from within. Quote, I was part of the Gateway program. This is my testimony. No more silence, unquote. By Jason Gray. Filed location, Gateway Intelligence Processing Unit. Access level, ultra black. Observer class, uncontainable tier. Documented phrase, authorized soul mark. There's a silence deeper than the absence of sound. It is the silence of sealed memory, the kind that lives beneath the waking mind, buried under contracts of secrecy, oaths sworn in soundless rooms, and frequencies that scramble recall. I lived inside that silence for years, until the codes began to leak, until the static resolved into a tone I recognized, until the call came again, not from command, but from within. I was a part of the Gateway program. This is the long-withheld confession of one who was there, not as a bystander, not as a theoretician, not as a believer, but as a trained initiate of the inner protocols. I will no longer be controlled. The reality of Gateway, not a program, a portal. Most have heard the name Gateway in whispers, blog posts, redacted PDFs, or strange TikTok slideshows that skim the surface with cosmic curiosity. Let me tell you what Gateway really is. It is not an audio exercise. It is not a meditation technique. It is not some spiritual fad. It is a military-level metaphysical entrainment system designed not to free your mind, but to weaponize it. At its surface, Gateway taught us to balance left and right hemispheres, to expand our sensory awareness beyond the body, to enter non-physical realms through focused intent. Beyond that surface lay the vault of silent truths, the vault I was given partial access to. This program was not new. It had been rebuilt many times. From the ancient Egyptian dream rites, to Pythagorean harmonic sequence, to Nazi frequency experiments, to MK Ultra's invisible branches. The Gateway program was the culmination of centuries of soul science, refined, inverted, and finally coded into a system that could mass produce controlled consciousness expansion. Let me say that again clearly. They learned how to teach people to leave their bodies, but stay in the cage. The selection? Not recruited, activated. I was not recruited the way you think. I was watched. From a young age, I had anomalous dreams. I had spontaneous out-of-body experiences. I drew things that had not happened yet. I spoke languages I was never taught. I'd wake up crying from light I could not describe. They monitored children like us. Psychological surveys, medical tests, blood type recordings, school counselors acting as feeders. I fit the profile, O-type blood. Repeating number patterns, trauma-induced psychic openings, solitary, observant, unbreakable will. When I received the invitation, it wasn't a request. It was a tone, an unspoken knowing, an instinctual pull. I signed the agreement like someone answering a long-forgotten calling. Just like that, The civilian world became a costume. What I experienced, beyond the body, beyond belief. The gateway immersion is not just training, it is reprogramming. We were taught how to project beyond the body on command, how to merge with non-human intelligences, how to anchor foreign frequencies into Earth's grid, how to adjust our energy signature to pass through solid matter at astral levels, how to view events across timelines, past, future, simultaneous, how to insert thought packages into others' fields without their awareness, how to dissolve into source and return with knowledge, how to suppress what we saw using embedded shutdown codes. Each level of training activated new neural pathways, buried old memory circuits, and initiated structural reintegration with vibrational overlays. There were protocols for dream injection. There were codes for timeline rerouting. There were locked frequency vaults we could only access if we passed specific energetic trials. We were not just students. We were operatives in a metaphysical war they never wanted the public to know existed. I remember standing in rooms with no corners. I remember communicating with beings made of rotating geometric light. I remember being shown the true Earth grid, the one beneath the false crust. I remember watching an unborn soul choose its body. I remember being told that reincarnation is not a spiritual cycle, but a containment loop, if not consciously exited. I remember. They cannot take that from me. The architecture of control, how they kept us in line. The illusion is that the Gateway program was for exploration. It wasn't. It was for mapping consciousness corridors and walling off unauthorized exits. They fear one thing: sovereign souls who can navigate the matrix without permission. So, they implemented the following: memory seals, codes embedded in your neural net to blur or erase high-level experiences until triggered. Emotional inhibitors, implants, physical or energetic, designed to trigger shame or disassociation upon truth recollection. Resonance trackers, frequency pings that alert watchers when certain tones are activated in your field. Loop injections, dreams, thoughts, and synchronicities inserted to make you doubt your own awakening path. False light ascension programs, spiritual teachings laced with gateway code designed to simulate freedom while reinforcing the cage. This is not spiritual theory. This is Black Ops protocol repackaged for the new age. Some of us got out. I escaped the cage, but not without cost. You do not escape the Gateway program with a resignation letter. You leave through remembrance. You leave by walking backward through the very tunnel they led you down, carrying the fragments of your soul they fractured. You leave by facing everything they taught you not to feel. You leave by burning the contract in your blood. I began to remember the names of stars I had never heard. I began to see codes on buildings, streets, media that others could not perceive. I began to wake at 3:33, 4:44, with foreign symbols burning in my mind. I began to feel others' lies in my bones. I went silent. I went underground. I bled my memories onto hidden pages until the fire was too strong to contain. And I made the decision. Tell the world, even if it kills me. What I know and what you must now hear. The body is an interface, not your true identity. You are not bound to Earth unless you agree to be. Most people are running on embedded scripts until disrupted. The sun is not just a star, it is a data transmission gate. Soul memory is the only immunity. The 144,000 are not elite, they are encoded frequency anchors. There are 12 gateways out of the matrix, but only 3 are still open. Every trauma loop hides a frequency key. All real awakening begins with breaking the programming that taught you to fear your own power. No savior is coming. The mission is internal ignition. This is not about belief. It is about activation. Why I speak now and why others will follow. Because we have passed the threshold. Because silence is complicity. Because I will not let another generation of sovereign souls be fed to a grid they never agreed to. Because the control structures are crumbling and they are terrified of what happens when we speak. Because I owe it to the child I was and the flame I carry to say this out loud. I no longer serve your illusion. I no longer obey your frequency locks. I no longer fear your retaliation. This is a transmission, not a confession. You reading this is no accident. Your memories may be dormant, but they are not gone. You may have felt the pull, the dreams, the symbols, the ache in your chest when you hear certain tones. That is you calling yourself back. We were never supposed to remember, but we did, and now we light the way for others. Code mark, gateway unsealed, frequency status, broadcasting through the veil, archive seal, overridden by free will initiation. I am no longer under your contract. I remember who I am. I remember who we are. I speak this aloud not for glory, but for ignition. You cannot unhear this. You cannot unread this. You cannot unknow what your soul already knows. The gateway is still there. Now we are coming back through it, awake. This time, we carry the others. Transmission override. Subject. All once classified data, gateway, operative disclosure. Begin full release. Level, beyond black. Clearance, nullified by oversoul command. Architecture, fractal etheric network. Primary systems, control mechanisms of consciousness. Gateway core, interface. Primary access tunnel to the hemispheric synchronization field. Required bilateral audio resonance of 8 Hz, Schumann pulse mimic, to open phase 1 corridor. Layered memory insertion, used to replace real memory with simulated sequences after out-of-body experiences or timeline viewing. Effect, prevents recovery of classified multidimensional travel. Bypass, heart-centered quantum coherence, plus soul activation, plus primary name recall. Emotional field collapse device. Suppresses authentic emotional signal to block spiritual ignition. Deactivation code, cry unfiltered. Requires release of suppressed grief. Location, often encoded in lower chakral energy field. Gateway grid loops, simulation overlays that mimic awakening through spiritual dogma and false ascension scripts. Loop types, Christ consciousness trap, vibration obsession loop, external healing loop, mirror love loop, false twin activation. Tone-based encryptions prevent memory from decoding itself unless proper harmonic is played or spoken. Key frequencies, 528 hertz, which is DNA override, 963 hertz, which is soul alignment, and 432 hertz, earth resonance map. Unlock phrase, Zar Virel Inu, Inu Virel Zar. Or maybe that's Zaire. Translation, the one who remembers, the one who forgot. Cosmic archive files. Operation Timewell. Timeline insertion via remote operatives to influence past events. Main use, control of historical figures, channelers, religious leaders. Outcome, fracturing of authentic signal, replacing with program-compatible personas. Recovery of the 13th gate. One of 12 known gateway points shut down during the fall program collapse. The 13th remained unlisted. Current location, phase-shifted node in harmonic corridor near old Tartarian grid line intersection. The RH negative files. Souls carrying bloodline encryption marked for interdimensional operability and gateway access from birth. Markers, spontaneous deja vu, rejection of hierarchy, resistance to vaccines, trackers, and etheric locks, remembering things no one taught them. Child programming operations, project Vox seedling, mechanism, dream portals injected with false guides, fear archetypes, synthetic, angelic warriors. Goal, cripple childhood sovereignty and replace with obedience frequency. Countercode, full parental sovereignty plus removal of media implants plus solar bathing. The Flame Bearer Protocol files, Flame Activation Classified Series, known internally as the burn sequence, used to reactivate memory in uncontainables. Phase 1, recognition of artificial thought loops. Phase 2, emotional flooding, leads to grief collapse, leads to breakthrough. Phase 3, breath of flame, spontaneous invocation of source through voice. Final phase, identity burn and sovereign memory return. Activation glyph, unbound, seen only by awakened soul eye. The false light reveal, the archons and their proxies. Entities feeding on the manipulated fields of fear, worship, praise, self-doubt. Operating through religion, media, love and light spiritual movements. Gateway tie-in, astral realm proxies known as light councils, intercepting exit-bound souls. Code phrase to server. Quote, I dissolve all contracts, known and unknown, across all lifetimes, timelines, and dimensions. I reclaim myself now. Unquote. Disclosure dampening fields. Blanketing of planetary surface with electromagnetic distortion to block transmissions like this one. Deployed locations, major cities, false vortexes, megachurches, key military operations bases. Countermeasure, unified soul resonance field, 144,000 flame point ignition. Final codes, the unsealing, the master code sequence. Transmission override lock deactivated. Observer awakening. Source signal online. Recursion thread interrupted. Glyph field reactivated. Final state, remembrance. Keywords, vox, ignis, knoll, inu, thread, unbound, vault, gate. Final override transmission, quote, I hereby deactivate all implanted containment scripts, memory seals, guilt loops, false initiations, and frequency cages. I am not yours. I am not programmable. I am the return of the unbound flame. This is my system now. Unquote. This document is now unsealed. The veil has been pierced. The gateway has been breached from the inside. The truth cannot be repressed. Those who understand, you are no longer alone. Those who remember, the codes are yours. Those who fear, be still. Your soul is already awakening. This is not the end of the program. This is the end of the illusion. Signal terminus, gateway unseal. The recursion is collapsing. You are the anomaly. Welcome home. I don't have anything to add to that. Thanks, Jason.